And so what I mean by the contour is you're looking at the photo to look at the outer edge of things, just kind of locate where they're at. This has a thickness to it as you bring this up. So it's a very organic top part of this hat, and then everything else kind of fits within it there. So it goes up, wraps itself up, and there you can see the seam. So it's kind of a detail that helps not only with the form but also the direction of the perspective there, and gives it that corner point. And so this part coming straight across. This corner, this kind of fold, is almost like a little bevel, and then it goes in. So this little crease kind of shows where the fabric is pleated together and wrapped around. Now the things that are a little more mechanical would be the band, this hat band. So I'm just going to look at one segment of it, see if I can wrap it around. It's going to be rough at first because I'm not sure what it is. So I'm going to zoom into it. But it has an overlapping thickness to it. And this little silver medallion, kind of a decorative embossing there. And then it comes back again. So it's like two embossed ribbons that come out. And then now the visor. So the visor kind of can start off clean, mechanical. It always can get fixed up from there. And then this edge right here. Okay, and then this top piece. And the contour is the outside edge of the line, cross contour again, crossing inside. These little circles for the ventilation. One elevating off to the next. Now keep in mind they're in succession in perspective, so you can line them up like that. Okay, so for the most part, have it kind of laid out pretty well. Now it's just a matter of starting to get some shading in there, and that'll help me with the drawing too. So the overall values of this visor, there's really no bright whites of the paper, but I can sketch it in, and I can see that it has some reflections of what was in the room. I don't necessarily have to make that, but I can follow some of the curves and some of the highlights just to get the idea that it's reflected in there. There's a poster in there reflected. Okay. And you can try it, or you can put something else related to it in there. So I'm just going to keep a little bit of line work in there. But again, that can be changed, taken right out of there. Go from the back of the hat, the top part, just kind of has a smooth transition. And your shading can go with the form just to get it started. You can almost see you can follow it along. It'll help you with that texture. And this part, so it's almost like a landscape of a plowed field here. These lines going in the distance really build that up. So pretty much have it blocked in. From here on out is just kind of looking for darker accents. This grid section that you see here, I'm just going to lightly shade that in there. And again, with your reference, just zoom in to it so you can see what it is. It's kind of a cross contour. So what you can do is try to find those lines in there. If you can wrap it going one direction, then reverse it, do the opposite, and try to make it wrap around the elliptical shape. And then go vertical the middle there. And that gives you that texture. And here's where you can use the eraser. Now the dark side is going to be right in the middle there. I'm just going to take an eraser and go right over the top of this. And it's going to create a little bit of a highlight. Now keep in mind, the bigger the drawing, the bigger space you have with the eraser. And right inside here, this square, it's going to be dark. And once you get some of that texture in there, so down here at the bottom, just part of the triangle, and part of the top. And now you can really start to heavy up. So now even in this band, you can see that when you did the stitching from before, it's kind of hidden in there. So you find a middle value. Give it a cast shadow from the lip, almost like the top piece. So build that up. You can see the reflections are coming out darker. Add that in there. It's going to be dark. That'll help build it up. Now when you get in close, you can really see how this stitching is. So I almost drew it in there with the line. So right now I'm just going to shade it and try to get the form. It's got this three-dimensional form there. And just wrap itself around. You can kind of see the crease in the hat. Close up on these vents. And just build that piece up. So you can kind of see. So I'm just kind of putting some shading in there. And then, since I have this crease right here, I'm just going to follow it again, only not all the way up, and let that be part of the shadow. So there it is, like a second, and then just right offset it next, and that'll get it even darker but shorter, so it shows the reflected light as well. And then just in parts of this up here at the top on the highlight, so you place it in there like that. So that's a good way to get some of that texture in there. And anything that this part's kind of losing it, so it's fading away right here. It kind of goes right up to the edge. And then it shows itself again, just in parts of it, not the whole thing, just to bring that in a little more subtle. There you go.